Hey folks, I'm Kurt Davina, and here today on GameSpot, we're talking about Heroes of the Storm. And joining me is Kaeo Milker, the production director of the game, as well as Brett Crawford, the lead game designer. Hey Brett, hey Kaeo, thank you so much for being here. How are you folks doing?
Hi, Kurt. Doing well.
Yeah, hey Kurt, things are going great. Thanks for having us.
What are you bringing to Heroes of the Storm to celebrate this 5-year anniversary? I know you just said, Kaeo, that there's the players are getting portraits, but is there anything else being added to oomph that up?
Yeah, so we're really excited. The next hero coming to the Nexus is one I think a lot of players are familiar with. It is Mei from Overwatch. So our latest tank coming in is Mei, and she has a really fun kit that I'm sure Brett can talk a bit about here too.
How did you come to the conclusion of making Mei a tank in this case?
That's actually kind of funny. We were working on Mei for a while now, and we had a couple passionate designers that loved her in Overwatch, and they said, we think that we can take her kit and turn it into a tank, because we were looking for a tank. We've been wanting to bring a tank now for a while, and so they're like, she's got all the colds, all the slows, she's really good at like disrupting enemies, and like we think we could just tweak a few things and turn her in from an assassin like she kind of is in Overwatch more into a tank style for heroes.
What was it like translating that moveset? Like you just touched on the ability to slow things down and bring up ice walls, but what was it like taking that and trying to implement it into the hot playstyle?
It's difficult. I would say that most heroes coming in from all the other IPs they all have their own challenges. Like, how do we take these different game styles and we bring it to heroes? For Mei and a lot of the Overwatch heroes themselves, it's like we're taking a first-person shooter where they have full control of their camera and everything else. We're trying to bring that and isolate it into the 2D heroes camera on the isometric view. So I think the biggest challenge we had there was how do we make her feel like the Mei from Overwatch without making her feel over powerful, I guess would be the sake of things. We've gotten a lot of criticism in the past for some of the Overwatch heroes of their mobility, and they're fast and they're always shooting and they're kind of hard to catch,
Sure.
Right? And so we really wanted to take a step back and say, how can we really explore this cool new direction with an Overwatch hero with Mei and like make her sturdy and make her stand in the middle of a fight and say, attack me instead of like come catch me.
How are her abilities going to remain the same, or like will I as an Overwatch player be able to jump in and understand what I can do with her? How will that differ?
Totally. Her entire ability set is pretty much coming over from Overwatch. Of course, we've made tweaks to it. She has a couple new things that Overwatch doesn't, and we've moved some things around her. Her heroic, her ice wall in Overwatch, her E in Overwatch is now her heroic in Heroes. So, and her Blizzard, her heroic that's in Overwatch, is now her Q in Heroes.
Cool.
It's her W in Heroes. So we've got everything there. So if you don't know the hero, or if you're familiar with her in Overwatch, you're going to instantly be able to jump in with her in Heroes.
That's amazing. Is there going to be any kind of crossover reward? So say as an Overwatch player, I mean, thankfully I do play both, but if I were to play Mei in Heroes of the Storm, will I be getting a skin in Overwatch by any chance? Is there that type of thing, or is it too soon to say? Or
Yeah, well, in the past we've done a couple really cool crossovers with Overwatch, and I think those are always really fun for both Heroes players and Overwatch players. This time there isn't a crossover with Mei, so Mei's going to be coming into Heroes with nothing on the other side in Overwatch. But I think it's something that we'll keep talking to the Overwatch team about and seeing if there are cool opportunities for us to do neat events or to bring players back and forth across the games. Because like I said, it was really fun when we did that before.
Yeah.
I would love to do it again too.
Of course, and it's an ever-evolving experience, which is just a trying testament in of itself. Which kind of goes into some of the next things I want to talk about, like Nexomania II. So Nexomania is back, which is pretty amazing, because that was a really exciting, really cool, like all-encompassing event that happened. What was the choice for Nexomania specifically to bring it back?
The team loves Nexomania. It was one of the funnest events that we've ever put together. Our artists love creating for it, that we get to play with color palettes that you don't normally see. Video production team gets to make cool videos for it, and it's a lot of fun. Like, it's really what Heroes in the Nexus is all about, which is kind of these crossover of like, how crazy can we get with some of the skins and like showing players how neat and how different they can be, but still play exactly the same. So
Mhm.
it's one of our favorite events, and we were super excited to go back to it. We polled the team like we do most of the time now. It's like, what event do we want to do next as a team? Like, what do the fans want? What do we want? And this was definitely the next one on the top of the list. So we're excited to bring it.
How is it going to differ from last time?
Well, it's actually going to be very similar. So if you played the first Nexomania, you're going to see a very similar pathway. We're bringing back the same structure where you'll get to choose your champion at the beginning of the event. You'll go down your pathway doing quests and getting rewards through that champion, and at the end, we'll give you a whole bunch of stuff for completing that. We also have another new announcer coming with MC Tombstone. So if you remember El Guapo, you'll get another fun wrestling announcer, which being in these rooms, like as a developer and hearing these voice actors do this is not something that I'm just kind of recently been put into, but it's so much fun and they have so much passion doing it that I can't even, like, if you ever get a chance to go watch videos of voice actors doing it and you're actually really into the product that they're doing the voice for, it's so much fun to geek out.
It's especially for like wrestling, especially too, and like it's like this. Everything is larger than life to the nth degree, and I remember distinctly the original trailer for Nexomania, and just the entire thing just being so over the top, and El Guapo it was incredible. So I'm really excited to see what you guys are doing next with that one. Going back to May for a second, I kind of forgot to ask this, but how do you? The lore is so important, and the evolvement of the Nexus and all of these things is just so fascinating. Are you able to tell me how May ends up her way into the Nexus?
Well, I can say that if you're playing the game right now, you might have noticed some snowstorms appearing here and there. And as an adventuring climatologist, May is interested in that kind of phenomena. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some other storms on the horizon.
I also want to go back and just briefly talk about the 5-year scope of this game, and both of you have said that you've been a part of this for close to 7 years, and it is an ever evolving experience. And having seen it myself a few years back and then jumping in and out over time, there's always like the core thing that makes Heroes of the Storm, and then the exhilarating part of it is be able to come back and see what's been added, new heroes and new things and new abilities. What would you both say to any newcomers who are interested in joining back into Heroes of the Storm, and especially 5 years later of the game existing, is now, I know of course like now is always kind of like the best time, but how would you guide a new person into something that's been growing like this for so long?
Some of the decisions that we made in the very beginning about the game that we wanted Heroes of the Storm to be are still things that I think make the game really approachable for new players. Everything from these really short game times, we still have 20-minute game times that people can just kind of jump in and get a good feel for it and then jump into the next game. And it's not really this giant time commitment each time you play. In an hour you can get in 3 games of Heroes, which is always really appealing. But I think as we've continued adding things to the game, we've obviously, now there's like this menagerie of heroes. But what that means for players, and I think what Heroes of the Storm really is a love letter for Blizzard games and Blizzard universes, first and foremost. But I think that's something that's been really appealing to new players as well, where people can jump in and they can find a hero that they know from across the Blizzard multiverses here, and they can kind of jump in, and like Brett said, a new character coming in like May, we've worked really hard at making sure that May still feels like May, and that the abilities and stuff, even though we're translating it to this MOBA game and to this isometric view and everything and different control scheme, that it still feels like the character that you know and love. And so much of what we've done with the game, like hero by hero, is try to capture both the fantasy and as much of the gameplay feel of each of them as we can. And I think that's a really good entry point for anyone coming into the game, to kind of find that hero that they're familiar with, or that they've crossed paths with before, whether it was as something that they played or something that they fought against. And now you can kind of jump in and pick up where you left off.
I think I was just going to say, I think that's really telling, because when I first started playing Heroes of the Storm, I came from playing lots and lots of World of Warcraft. So I was able to immediately pick an array of characters and kind of almost have a familiar sense of how my rotations worked and how I would be able to apply those into that game. So I think that's a really good point. And especially, it's certainly a different game, as Brett said earlier, from Overwatch to Heroes of the Storm. But I think that familiarity of just understanding the powers is a really, really good point. Now, as we approach the end, I really must ask, how have you all been faring at home while also making this game? Kaeo, you go first.
This has been really interesting. It's been 3 months now that we've been working from home. We pivoted within a matter of days at Blizzard to going home. And I think it's something that as a company, we hadn't really done a lot of before, and it's been going surprisingly well. And I think we're all extremely fortunate in this industry that we do something that we love, and that it's also something that can translate into being able to do it from home like we are now. So largely this has just been, we kind of carried forward, and we're still all working. Like, there's a lot of obviously challenges with communication and collaboration. I think that's probably the hardest part. Is this is a creative endeavor, and so a lot of the spitballing and really cool idea sharing that we do back in the office is a little harder to do in this medium here. But overall, it's been going really well. We've been patching all the games and making tons of new content and having new heroes like May come out and working on videos and announcers, and kind of everything's been carrying forward. So I think we've been really lucky, and the game is still making awesome stuff, which is like the part that I have the most fun with. So I feel super lucky that we're able to just kind of keep going here.
Yeah. What about you, Brett? How have you been doing?
I'm alive. Let me free. Get me out. No, it's been amazing, actually. I had never been able to work from home doing almost anything. I've always gone to the office. And so this was kind of it was a difficult transition to the point, especially as creative and as a design lead for the game. It's like I'm so used to bouncing around people and throwing ideas off of them and stuff like that. And so getting used to doing that through Slack or through WebEx meetings was definitely a challenge. But after a couple weeks, it's all gone in stride. And to be honest, I think for the most part, like, I'm much more productive here than I am at the office, just because I can go to the kitchen and get a sandwich. I can come back and eat. And then if I work it past an hour or whatever, like, it's just, I can always be on if I need to be, and I can turn it off when I want to. So there's been a lot of freedom that's come with it, which is really amazing. So we'll see what the future holds. It would be nice to be able to, it's cool that Blizzard can see this as a chance to test what work from home would be like, and then hopefully evolve the way the workforce, I think it's going to evolve the way the entire world's workforce changes as we go forward. But
yeah, I agree. And I think it's incredible coming from, a news and press and video side. It's been a curve for us, but seeing game developers and folks like yourselves manage to pull these things together and put it out is incredible. So good work, dudes. That's all the time we have today, but I just want to say thank you again, Kaeo and Brett. It's a pleasure being able to talk to you guys about all of this jazz. I guess just before we go, when can we expect May in the game, and when is Nexomania II going to happen?
You can check both of those things out right now on PTR, and they both will also actually hit the live environment next week.
Fantastic. Sweet. Thank you guys again so much for being here. Hope you continue to do well and eat the unicorn marshmallows and all the wonderful things you guys do in behind the curtains of the Heroes of the Storm. All right. Be on the lookout for more Heroes of the Storm content here at GameSpot. Once again, I'm Kurt, and see you later.